What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about Silo, Season 2, Episode 5. Uh, this is, I think it's Episode 5 anyway. Anyway, this episode is like 97% Silo and 3% Juliet. And we'll talk about it. So, for the most part, we spend the whole time in the silo, in the down under. It takes place with, the people, the remaining two who are left who haven't been captured, are watching as the tides are turning because Bernard has put a barricade that is separating and they can't get any food down to them. And however, there's a lot of support because of Juliet. So people are dumping vegetables down the trash chute, so they're still able to get food. They're still able to eat. But yeah, their food supply. Somebody even they don't know who is the like secret agent down there, but somebody had actually like poisoned their supply, so they know that somebody down there is working for Bernard because they had food, and it was all like destroyed. So their little supply. So Bernard's trying to starve them out. But they've outsmarted him. They're a little bit more ahead. They have this secret weapon stash. They have like a saw that can cut through concrete. And so throughout the episode, you see them working their way around. Knox and the other one reveal obviously their feelings for each other and kiss, and that was great for them. Good for them. But they also cut their way up through levels, and then they come up above the barricade. So then they have the upper hand, and they have their weapons and everything, and they end up gaining 10 levels. But what they do when they gain those 10 levels, which pisses Bernard off, is that they gained a farm. So now they have food. So now they can hold off a lot more because they have one of the lower level farms. So, not ideal. So Bernard's really upset. That's one of the things that's happening in this episode. Another thing is the sheriff's walking around. He's with the guy who got shot, and he gets the doctor in there on Juliet's father. He uses Paul. I think it's not Paul. Somebody, Paul. We're gonna go with Paul. Either the sheriff is Paul or Common's name is Paul. Somebody is Paul. And it's messing with my ability. I know the other one is Hank. That's for sure. So, but the sheriff has his wife bring the doctor through under the guise that there's a birth or whatever, and she cites a code and gets like about denying a citizen medical condition or something like that, and gets through the barricade with Juliet's father, and it's to help Patrick, that's his name, who had been shot, and get him patched up or whatever, so that he'll give the deep dark secrets, and which he does. But his deep dark secrets are basically the stuff we already knew. He just finally tells it to somebody else. Like he saw what Juliet saw, and he talks about how the computers went down. Of course, Juliet has since realized she has a different perspective, which is why she's trying to get back to the silo on it being bullshit. But yeah, so she so he ends up also finding Walker and investigating the case, and Walker's like, well, she wants to know where her girlfriend is. He tries to find out. He can't. She's been like renditioned, so he does not know where she is, and that's concerning to him. But he hears the story about how they went up there, and the judge was already dead, and he eventually finds Knox and Shirley, and he radios back up to Bernard and says he's found them, but he's not telling Bernard where they are because he wants a full investigation. Bernard's like, fuck, I lost the sheriff. So this is not a good day for Bernard. Meanwhile, Bernard is also leaning on Common's wife's desk. I know she has a name too. And he does too. He might also be Paul. Either the sheriff or Common is Paul. One of them is Paul, and it's messing with my head right now. In real time. You're watching this unfold in real time. So Bernard is super creepy on the desk, and he's like, hey, I heard you had him and you let him go. What was up with that? And the audio description of this moment was great because it makes her, like, it really highlights her uncomfortableness in the whole situation. She's like, well. So, yeah. So she tells him that she called for raiders and was told that they were not coming because she says she really works it around. There was something about how the raiders weren't coming, and that the people were supposed to take it or whatever, but she took them away from the people because she was saying, she's like, well, it was supposed to be justice. I was doing what was right, and I took them away, and they like a mob, like non-official people had them, and I took them away, and I called for raiders, but the raiders didn't come. And so she has a pretty decent answer, but Bernard knows. She just gave a really good answer, so there's not much she could do about it. Except probably everything. This manipulative son of a bitch. Common, meanwhile, is just, he doesn't do much in this episode, except he's still sort of like figuring out his new job, the new place, and what this means. And Bernard, he's gonna be real pissed when he finds out Bernard made Lucas, because he walks in and he's like, Lucas is sitting there and he's like working on the computer. He's like, are you supposed to be? Like, he's just really upset because this guy's supposed to be like in the mines, and he's sitting up in the mayor's office and working for the mayor. And then Lucas, every time Bernard, he's like, oh yes, you're doing the Caesar theory. Yes, he's trying to break this code. And finally, Lucas is at an impasse, and he's like, yeah, the only way that I need, he's like, oh, you have to see the legacy. And you're like, what is the legacy? It's like, so Bernard clearly is like, knows a whole bunch of things that nobody else knows, and has read a whole bunch of things that nobody else has read. And that's when he swears Lucas in as the Shadow. So the thing that Common was trying to be for so long, Lucas gets it in like 5 seconds, also after having committed a crime, right? So he swears Lucas to be the Shadow. And so Lucas can read the legacy and understand. So that's what's interesting. There's also a moment with Bernard where he stands over the dead body of the judge and is like, would you have done the same to me? Probably not, dude. Like, honestly, probably not. I think it's just you. But the little bit at the end is just Juliet and Solo. It's like a little bit of them. And Juliet had an infection that I guess he'd been home growing some antibiotics, so he helped heal her, and she wakes up. But she doesn't have her suit because he wants her to fix the flood that is, that she apparently knows how to fix, but she's more worried about getting back to her silo and doesn't understand why she needs to save this one. So the only reason why, like, because I can't throw A's at every single episode of Silo ever, even though I love it, is that I felt like that scene was just totally unnecessary. It's so short. It's basically like, I never thought Juliet was dead, so I didn't need confirmation of life in this episode. You could have just put her off until the next. I know she's the series lead, so leaving her out of the episodes is weird, but either make the episode a little bit longer. It is streaming. You're not actually confined to a runtime. That scene should have been longer. Then there should have been more there. But it feels like it's this weird, like, next week on, like, it's sort of like we needed another cliffhanger. And I think, honestly, the strength of the episode was right before that, when Bernard names Lucas the Shadow, and seeing the rapid pace that he has to do it. I mean, he's dawdling with Common for all that time, and Lucas gets it in like 2 seconds. I mean, he just like walks over and like puts the hand on him and swears him in. It's like, it's that easy. So, um, yeah, it's I think that was definitely the moment to end on instead of this weird, like, non-scene. It's just like Juliet wakes up and she's like, "Where's my suit?" You don't get the suit. You gotta fix that pipe." The end. It's like it's like a minute and a half with them out of the whole episode, and it's like, what was this even there for? Um, but I love Silo. But yeah, so if I ever had to give an episode an A minus, it's gonna be this one because I just felt that was unnecessary at the end. I'm good with waiting till next week. You gave me a strong episode up until that moment. I did not need that. So, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.